Hey YouTubers, I will be embarking on a bunch of wireless earbuds review, especially of the truly wireless variety, but for now, WRZ Audio or WRZ Tech has sent their S8 sports earbuds, of which they sent two of the six colors available, the light blue as well as the yellowish green. So the earbuds arrived within these nice carrying pouch and pretty much generic cardboard box within another box, and it does include a bevy of accessories, starting with a cable management clip, three different size ear tips starting with small, medium, and large, as well as a stabilizer that will help against your concha as well as your antitragus, and additionally, the hooks that go into your fossa. Last but not least, you also have a micro USB charging cable. So the WRZ S8s come currently in six colors. In addition to these two that they sent, here are the rest. They're designed with active types in mind. They are magnetic earbuds, so they could snap into place easily, but the magnets are not so strong that you can't easily single-handedly pluck them out. They do feature a pretty typical inline remote control as opposed to those that might have it in the earbuds itself. These three buttons are all multifunction. So top one is the volume up as well as next track. The middle serves different purposes, so like play pause for playback purposes as well as I think advanced call handling features, right? So answer in the call, I think answer second call, place on hold, depending on how long or how many presses. And last but not least, the last button is the volume down as well as the previous track button. On the side is a charging port, and on the back is a microphone. But sadly, there is no noise cancel on this microphone, so thus, in my use, they weren't really that great. People were complaining that they were picking up a lot of background noise, so not exactly targeting those who are heavy callers. Now, one note about that charging port is that while it does use a circular stall and it does sit fairly well, I find that the stalk is a little bit stubborn to push in, so you always got to be a little bit careful about pushing that back squarely in order to maximize the water resistance. Furthermore, I've just never really been fond of this particular cover style because you do have to bend it pretty much out of the way, and you probably do see a little bit of that white color there. To me, that always indicates, like especially with plastic, that it's about to give way. So I will see how that holds up in the long run. Now on the earbud itself, there is a tiny little ear port so that this thing could vent. It does have pretty decent bass, which I'll get into a little bit later, but when you put on these fins, you do have to align it correctly so as not to block that porthole there. In terms of comfort, overall, I found that these worked well as opposed to the hooks. And also the medium-sized tips initially when I first got them, I did have a little difficulty getting them to stay put. But after these were broken in, these created a perfect seal around my ear canals. Thus, I'm able to maximize the bass as well as get the full effect of the frequency response range. Given these have Bluetooth 5.0, I found the range to be outstanding. Case in point, I left my phone, for argument's sake, let's just say this is the second floor of my office, on the table, walked down past the spiral staircase down to the back room where the coffee machine is to grab coffee, and it still stayed connected. So we're talking about, I don't know, diagonally 25, 30 feet, but you got to remember, keep in mind there's an entire floor in the way, wood, some tiles and whatnot. So that was truly, truly amazing. By comparison, my Jaybird X2s, by the time I got down to the spiral staircase around here, it just lost connectivity. So that is truly amazing. But one interesting thing I did discover was that when connected with my iPhone 7 doing a kind of just straight same level test, I got as far as about close to 70 feet with these. But keep in mind that the iPhone 7 Plus is only Bluetooth 4.2, whereas with my LG V30, I only was able to get roughly about 60 feet, so about 10 to 15 feet less, which was quite the revelation because I would have imagined, like, Bluetooth 5 to Bluetooth 5, it would have been better. But it turns out that the Bluetooth transmitter makes the bigger difference here. In either case, though, like I said, I mean, even with the LG V30, that was still amazing connectivity, plus not to mention, it was also able to get back to the coffee room downstairs as well. Now, I do also work in the city in the office, so on the way to work, being bombarded by various Wi-Fi hotspots, plus not to mention other people's Bluetooth devices, I have not encountered a single glitch with these at all. They are rock solid, and I haven't had any issues whether on the way to work or as well as in the office as well. So these have been simply outstanding in terms of both the connectivity and the range. Now, the cable management clip does a fairly decent job, although, not great. I have seen it pop out loose, but in general, just because that the controls are on this side, I kind of put the bias towards the weight on this side to help offset. Not that this is so heavy that it will tug everything and pull it towards the right, but having it this way does help balance it out a little bit. So while during exercising or making mad dash for the bus or subway, I haven't had any problems with these staying in place. The charging LED indicator will light red while it's charging. When charging is complete, the LED will stay a steady blue, and they quote a charge time 1.5 hours, and that's precisely pretty much what I got. You see there on my USB tracker here, it's 1 hour and 32 minutes, so pretty much spot on. It's the same story for the yellow pair, so very consistent. Alrighty, with all that out of the way, we finally get to the conclusion in which I will cover the sound. Overall, these have very powerful bass. And while I would hesitate to call it a dark sounding headphone, only because the treble does come in nice and crisp, for instance, the smacking of tablet drums or the snapping of fingers, those all do come in cleanly. But you're never going to forget the emphasis of the bass. Now, in consideration of the target demographics, those who have an active lifestyle or those who are using it for the gym or while exercising, this is not the crowd that's going to be sitting there analyzing whether that fly is in the third row or the fourth row of the orchestra, or if the mouse is scurrying across the string section or the brass section. Come on, that is just not the purpose of these earphones. However, though, what I would say of more significance and importance is that rock solid connectivity as well as the range, because typically in an exercise environment, especially in the gym, I don't know about you, but typically I would just leave my phone on the side because I don't really attach it to a band. And I would be, a few feet away from it, or if I walk over to the water cooler or whatnot, the range, of course, does increase. So during those times, not that that's critical, but still, you don't want the trouble of it disconnecting and then potentially having issues and reconnecting and whatnot. So in consideration of that, these are absolutely phenomenal and certainly deserve 5 stars in the area. Now, overall, the soundstage isn't too bad. It doesn't sound too closed in and still represents spatial imaging decently. Again, like I said, that's not its forte here. But bottom line, the overall quality is quite good. I don't really have much in the way of concerns with the exception of perhaps the battery cover. Like I said, I will keep an eye on that long term and report back how it is. But overall, I do like that it has a decent amount of accessories, the 2 different sets of stabilizing fins, if you will, as well as the nice zippered carrying pouch, which you could store additional accessories or the micro USB charging cable there. So that's all really nice. But at the end of the day, one of the number one reasons that you would consider this is because of, and at the risk of sounding like a broken record, is the connectivity and the range. Also, it's great, like say, if you're taking a break, the magnets do help, but of course, a lot of other earphones out there now have that as well. It's not the first and won't be the last. One other thing that I do like is that these tips are quality. They don't absolutely deform and completely mush, right? They are able to still maintain its shape, and this is absolutely critical in order to get a good seal around the ears, which I was able to with these. Not so with some of the cheaper earbuds that I've experienced, especially with the more budget true wireless earbuds that I've been testing lately. Now, in consideration of the price, $19.98 for the black one or $21.98 for the rest of the colors, as of the time of this review, it's quite competitive, but I don't really have another like-for-like comparison. So meaning I don't have a Bluetooth 5 sports earbuds like this that's non-true wireless to be able to compare with, but I've been very, very happy with these so far. So in consideration that this is the first time I've tested the products, I've had no prior exposure, I'm very impressed. And these will certainly remain in my listening rotation. Great job, WRZ. As part of FTC disclosures, the S8s were provided by WRZ Audio for Review. Thanks again for watching.